fear of failure is a common issue amongst many people. And I can totally relate to this because I've caught myself in situations where I let it hold me back too. So what I want to do today is go over the psychology and kind of break it down a little bit more so we can understand it and ultimately start living our best lives. Let's go. Oh shit! Woo! What's up, rock stars? It's Sam Becker with I Am Capable, and if you are new to this channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications on future content where I put out content that helps you build a better mindset so you can ultimately live your best, confident life. All right, so fear of failure. It's such a common fear amongst us all in one way or another, but have you really stopped to think about the psychology behind it? And why we're actually hesitant to do the things that we know ultimately might make us happy if we are successful with it? Think about it. We learned fear of failure from somewhere. We weren't born with it automatically programmed into our minds, right? Somewhere along our lives, we learned that that is something that we should try to avoid because it's scary when it doesn't need to be. When something that we aspire to do or to be is on our minds, the first thought is usually worry. Like worry of failure, like what if this or what if that. So let's think about our why. Like, why do we want these things for our lives? Why do we want whatever it is that we're aspiring to do or to be? Why do we want those? Like, what will our aspirations bring us if we achieve them? You know, so keep that in mind, and we're going to circle back to that thought in just a minute. So to understand our fear of failure, we have to first kind of dissect backwards and think about the root cause of it, right? So the first thing that comes to mind when I think about the word failure, why is it so scary? What am I thinking about? I'm thinking about judgment and the opinions of others. And as I mentioned in this video right here, I can relate to this. I waited 2 years before I finally decided to put videos out on YouTube because I was worried about what others might think. So it actually made me think, what are we ultimately worried about? Are we worried about what others might think of us if we do happen to encounter some failure in our lives? Which, by the way, it's pretty inevitable, which in the long run, it's a good thing. It's a good thing because it'll bring way more experience than to someone who has never experienced failure to begin with. So in my opinion, I would actually trust the person that's experienced 20 failures before their one huge success, because the person that has experienced failures has learned that much more. They have that much more experience versus the one that's, first success in the first try. They have, in my opinion, luck. So the reason why I would trust the person with 20 failures is obviously because they have more experience, so you can only get through past failures. So, I mean, think about it in this way. Think about scientists. They're running hundreds of experiments, and you think every one of those was a success? Hell no. They run through so many different experiments, and they just constantly improve. They constantly improve. They constantly get better because they realize what gets measured gets improved, just like us. We have to understand this concept because mastery with anything takes time. Success takes time. And if we want to build more confidence in ourselves, that takes time too. So we, of course, have to keep practicing these things in order to be really good, like anything else. But we have to also pretend that giving up is just not an option at all if we want to succeed. Avoiding failure isn't going to bring anything to us at all. It's not going to bring anything to the table. In fact, it's just going to limit our potential. And if we flip that, we know that every experience that we have with failure is going to sting. And because we know it's going to sting, it's going to make us want to run back to our safe zone. It's going to make us not want to try anything and not ever try to better ourselves and level up. Or you could be so determined that it fuels you. That's always an option too. But one thing to keep in mind is that success demands failure, because without it, it wouldn't be as awesome of a feeling, right? Like it would just be kind of like a mediocre feeling every taste of success that we got. It would just be another day in the life. So keep that in mind as well. So what is the fastest way to overcome our fear of failure? Do whatever it is that is worrying you faster. Just do it. Here's a couple of quotes that I found very inspiring that I really want to share with you guys. The first is from John Maxwell, a very, very successful leadership coach. And he says, make your love for learning greater than your fear of failure. Action reduces fear and increases courage. The great Tony Robbins says, be more fearful of not taking action. Be more fearful of settling for a life that is below what you deserve and desire. He also says, I don't have to get rid of the fear. I just have to dance with it. Everyone deals with their fear of failure in some way, but we just got to train ourselves to think, I can be fearful, but I can do it anyway. And just think of how powerful that can be. I'm scared, I'm fearful, but I'm going to do it anyway. Just do it. Tony Robbins also put it into great perspective as well. He calls this his rocking chair test. So pretend you're 85 and you're sitting in your rocking chair, like the comfortable little happy old man or woman that you are, just happy and 85, right? And you're looking back on your life and you're thinking about all the things that you wanted to do or to become. You know, all the skills you've learned, all the sights you've seen, all the people you've met. Now think about what your life would look like if you actually never did the things that you wanted to do or become. You know, and you actually just gave in to the fear of failure and didn't even start at all. You just called it quits before even starting. How would you feel? How would that make you feel? If you're feeling a little bit regretful when you close your eyes and do this rocking chair test, then I think that you might owe it to yourself to give it a shot, to go for it. You know, make the decision right now to do it. You know, when you say do it, you have to do it. You know, Gary Vaynerchuk says you either jump in the pool or you don't. Who cares what other people are going to think? Because at the end of the day, you're just stopping yourself. You could think of it this way. You're technically kind of using your imagination to play out the worst case scenario, right? Like all the judgment and the opinions of family and friends and whatever they may be. Okay, so let's flip that, like I like to do all the time, right? Let's flip that. Now you have the power of imagination to your advantage to paint the picture of what the best case scenario might look like to you, right? What your success looks like. So let's go back to the why that we mentioned at the beginning of this video. Why do you want whatever it is that you are aspiring to be or to become? You know, does it bring you more money? Does it make you happier? Does it build your confidence? Does it inspire others? So with all this in mind, ask yourself, is it worth not making sacrifices for? Is it worth not pursuing? And is it worth never knowing what could have been? It very rarely is. So we need to shift our perception and our beliefs of what we consider failure to be. We need to understand that failure is all a part of the process, because without failure, success wouldn't even be an option. Failure is all a part of the journey, so we better embrace them and we better enjoy them. And you can learn more about that in this video right here. If we didn't think that our aspirations were possible, then we probably wouldn't even be thinking about them in the first place, right? Here's some examples that might push you more in the do-it mindset, okay? The Beatles. Some of the greatest musicians and songwriters that ever lived. You know, they were rejected from recording studios because their demos weren't good enough to the recording studios. So they rejected them. No faith. Michael Jordan. One of the greatest basketball players in the world got cut from his high school basketball team. That inspired him to work harder and become who he is today. Jerry Seinfeld. Famous comedian and actor, was fired from a sitcom because of poor performance. Lady Gaga. She was signed to a major label and only dropped 3 months after being signed. Look at her now. The list of failures to success stories can go on, but wouldn't you agree that these people have some amazing success stories? You can be the next one. And it starts by pushing past our fear of failure and saying do it to ourselves. Stop second guessing yourself. Home runs rarely happen on the first try, so don't expect it to. You know, it's going to be hard. Expect it to be. Because if it was easy, we wouldn't even be hesitant to do it anyway. You owe it to yourself to at least make the decision right now to go for it and make the attempt at conquering your fear of failure. Because without failure, brings no confidence and brings no experience. So get out there, get a plan going for yourself, and start kicking some ass. All right? And if you got value from this video, please go ahead and hit the like button and leave a comment down below on your way out. I'd love to hear how this might have helped you. And don't forget to check out the other videos in my Overcoming Fears playlist right there. Thank you guys so much. I'll be back with another video next Monday. Thanks. Take care.